Bouncing and drinking coffee ain't easy, but bouncing and making money is. And I'm going to go over the pros and cons of starting a bounce house business. Yeah, a bounce house business in this video. Let's go. Hey, my name is John Crestani, and I've been running internet businesses. I've been running just businesses since 2008, and I love making money. I love entrepreneurship, and I encourage everyone out here to do so. But let's go over the pros and cons of starting a bounce house business. And first, let's go over the step-by-step process to doing it. So first off, you have to pick a niche. Okay, now buying a bounce house can cost anywhere from $1,200 to $20,000. Right? Which is relatively cheap to start a business. But you got to pick a theme. You know, are you going to be a pirate themed bounce house business? Are you going to be a superhero themed bounce house business? A fantasy, you know, castle and princesses type of themed bounce house business? Or are you going to be the obstacle course bounce house business? You know, maybe do some corporate events and stuff like that too, right? You got to kind of go pick a theme, and the theme kind of goes with the market. Right, if you're doing obstacle course type stuff, you're going to be able to get bigger events with older folks, right? If you're doing like a princess themed thing, you're going after kids. You're going after moms and dads that are looking to have some fun at a birthday party. Now, step number 2 is you got to actually get a bounce house. Okay, you got to get a bounce house, and you got to go out there and buy it. And the cost is $1,200 at the low end for just a basic bounce house, or up to $20,000 for some of these like bounce obstacle course type things that are, you know, like take up a whole like, you know, sidewalk or you know, whole street or parking lot or something. Maybe you've seen those. So you gotta actually get your stuff. And the other part of that is you got to have some sort of like legal contract. You know, it could just be like a page that basically just says, and I'm sure you could look this up on the internet, but it basically says, look, if anybody gets hurt, you know, you're not responsible. You know, you got to get the parents to sign that. But then you're in business, baby. And we go on to step 3, which is marketing. Now, you've obviously chosen your niche already. You've chosen whether you're going after families and kids with like little girls wanting to be princesses, or you've chosen, you know, obstacle courses for businesses. And you got to go out there and you got to either, you know, whether that's maybe putting up flyers or doing social media marketing, collaborating with, you know, various, you know, let's say local parent groups. You know, I think there's a Facebook group for moms in like every single city in the U.S. or probably in the world. You know, there's like local moms of like, you know, Draper, Utah, guaranteed. And what you do is you hit those things up and you say, I have a bounce house business. You know, could you announce my new business or something like that? You know, you want to talk to moms if you're doing birthday parties. You want to talk to business owners if you're, you know, go to business clubs or whatever if you're doing that. I mean, that all sounds great, right? You're throwing parties, you're making money, you're hanging out with like moms and business people, but what are the pros and cons, right? So the first big con is it's seasonal, right? You see a lot of people doing bounce houses in the winter, you know, in a snowy place at least. Not really. You know, now in California, it can be different depending on where you are, but people don't want to bounce in the rain, you know? Or maybe that could be your niche, you know, bounce in the rain, but that doesn't sound very fun, honestly. The other downsides are liability, right? You have to deal with problems in our legal culture. You know, somebody gets hurt, you know, even if you have a contract, maybe they're going to try to do something stupid, you know, and be like, you know, it's your fault, you're a bounce house, or, you know. The other issue is it is not passive, you know. There is some physically demanding elements of starting a bounce house business. You're going to have to maybe repair something, stitch some, you know, thing up, or you're going to have to, you know, blow it up, tear it down. Now, in order to get business, you know, you have to talk to people, you know. I know a lot of friends who are, you know, introverts and salespeople. But, you know, you have to talk to people, you have to get people doing stuff, and I don't know. Some folks are just freaked out. Some of these kids these days, they spend so much time on social media. They're like scared to have like any sort of like literally do anything. They just like freeze up if they have to ask for something or impose themselves on the world, because so many folks are so addicted to social media. They're just becoming passive. They believe in depopulation. They believe in, like not having kids themselves. They almost believe in their own death because they don't want to impose themselves on the world in any way. And I understand some folks are like that in my audience, and that's why you want to start an internet business. If you guys don't know, I run an internet business. We do about 500,000 a month. We did over 5 million last year, and that's what I've been doing. But I generally love entrepreneurship. But let's talk about the pros, because the pros are great. The pros are that very low startup costs, right? That's $1,200 to $20K. Okay, that's great. To start a business, $1,200 to $20K, and you can just keep milking that bounce house, right? Now, the amount of money you'll make per bounce, for a 4-hour session roughly, is anywhere from $200 to maybe to something like $650, depending on the size of your unit, or who you're catering to. If you're selling to a corporate, like a business, to have some sort of like Friday fun event, with pizza and stuff like that, right? You could sell, an obstacle course more so at this level, whereas a standard princess bounce house, right, $200. That's good. You're going to recoup your investment cost in a few weeks, right? The other good news is variable hours, right? You choose when you work. Variable hours. Other good pros are, it really doesn't take any certifications or, a lot of skill, or really any skills to blow up a bounce house, right? You don't, it's not like you need to transition, from, you just don't need skills, right? No. So those are the pros, right? Low costs, variable hours, no skills. Now, you're probably wondering, can you get rich doing this? I personally know somebody in my, it's a group I've been a part of for 12 years now, since 2012, called Entrepreneurs Organization. And it's an organization only for entrepreneurs that are doing over $1 million a year. It costs like $10,000 a year to be a part of. They audit everything. But I know an entrepreneur in there who's doing over $35 million a year with his bounce house business. True story. He's in Texas, so he has a bunch of different cities that he works. He's working in. $35 million a year, a bounce house business. Seriously. So the reality is, and I'm going to show you some social media posts and some TikToks where guys are talking about $1 million plus a year bounce house business owners. So you can make a lot of money doing a bounce house business, even despite some of these cons over here. Now, with that being said, let's just dive right into these social media posts. Now, some of them are informational, some of them are instructional, some of them are motivational, but they're all specifically around having a bounce house business. Check them out.
I'm at IAPA, surrounded by bounce houses, literally hundreds of bounce houses everywhere. So I got to take this opportunity to talk about the bounce house business. This business is fairly easy to get into. I would say the minimum you need is about 3 to 4 jumpers or bounce houses, whatever it is, in order to justify the insurance cost. And yes, you need insurance because people can get hurt on these really easily. So don't start a bounce house business without insurance. Now, there is some things that you should kind of keep in mind. So the millionaire bounce house companies that I talk to will not buy like that unit behind me. Like, look at all that stuff on top. Those things are like bragging contests amongst bounce house owners, your competition. Who's got the stuff with the most stuff on it, blah, 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 blah. The millionaire guys will buy something more like that. Has nothing on top of it. All that stuff on top of it adds weight, which makes your guys get tired, which you're spending more money for that. the customer does not really care when you show up. They just want the slide, the water slide, whatever. Yes, it's colorful. They don't care about the wave on top or the birds on top or whatever. So the richer guys have learned this, so they buy more basic units that are still colorful, and everyone's job is just a lot easier. Return on investment is a lot better. So you could get started in this business for about $6,000 to $10,000. And obviously if you find used units, you could get in a lot cheaper. Again, just reiterate, you gotta have insurance. Bounce house business is a low entry kind of thing. Something that nearly anyone can get into.
Let's go, right? Isn't that crazy? Like, you can make millions of dollars with a bounce house business, right? Now, I prefer making money on the internet. And if you want to learn more about, my training products or, my mentorship program or just, get my book, there's links in the description that you can check out. But other than that, let me know in the comments, are you considering starting a bounce house business? Yes? Why? Why not? Or no? Why? Why not? Right? So let me know in the comments what you're thinking of the bounce house business and why or why not you like the idea of doing this. And also subscribe to my channel. I talk about different businesses you can start, how to make money on the internet, how to just crush life being an affiliate marketer and what have you. I look forward to seeing you in my future videos, and grab my book. Grab my book. There should be a free link down in the description that'll give you my book, which is 82 pages. It's a workbook, and it'll help change your life. It gives you 2 ways, 2 companies that'll pay you. You don't have to pay anything. And also there's questions at the end of every chapter. I really suggest you go through it and fill everything out, because it'll help you achieve your financial goals. I know that sounds crazy, but I've been teaching, I've taught over 50,000 students so far. I've changed so many lives. I've created over 20 millionaires. I was hanging out with a student the other day. He made over $20 million last year in his business from following my advice. And you can too, is the reality. But you gotta think right. Got to get your work ethic straight. You got to grow those skills. And you just got to be like focused and a persistent dog for a long time. But it'll change your freaking life. So, talk to you soon. John Crestani here, standing for location, time, financial, freedom, and family. Let's go.